This story is best summed up by the immortal Principal Seymour Skinner. We've all seen this meme, and this totally applies here. Am I out of touch? No. It's the children who are wrong. Hey, everybody, I'm Craig. Welcome to the Side Scrollers podcast channel. And for that, today we have a wonderful article from the folks over at Aftermath. I've never heard of this before, but apparently this is a bunch of cast-offs from Kotaku and Destructoid and other various traditional video game journalists, bloggers, if you will, shills, people who write corporate fodder and put it out there for you. Anyways, narrative drivers, if you will. Anyway, so over on X, they posted about this article, and I want to go to the article first, then we'll go to the X, but check this out. The Dragon Age review controversy shows how much YouTube and Twitter have poisoned video game discourse. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's everybody's fault. Here we are. So they did a podcast about this, and I actually went and watched some of the podcast, and it was legitimately laughable, both based off of how entertaining they were, and number two, the actual discourse that they were having about it. It sounded extremely out of touch, and I think that's the most amazing thing about this. So they said, these days when a big game comes out, you can pretty much roll the dice on what kind of reactionary controversy it will produce. Are we looking at a moral panic over trans characters, diversity consulting, games journalism being too positive, games journalists being too negative, some other quibble that will be forgotten in a week, interchangeably swapped out like the grains of sand dragged away by the unrelenting tide. See, look at how deep that is. Oh, the deep journalism right there. Oh, anyway, the usual suspects got mad about Dragon Age: The Veilguard reviews last week. Are you talking about the #1 video game podcast on planet Earth, Side Scrollers? Are you talking about that? Are you talking about us? Because we are kind of the top podcast in the world. By the way, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Join us Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. If your first time, we'd love to see you guys there Monday through Friday. It's great stuff. You can listen to this week's episode of Aftermath's Hours. Well, here's the thing. Nobody else did. I actually looked. There was like not many people who actually tuned in and watched it. Anyways, on a full rundown of why, but the whole thing is illustrative of a larger, more important issue. Thanks to the algorithmic prioritization on sites like YouTube and Twitter, this is how a growing number of people engage with video games. Correct. It's called YouTube and Twitter are where people go to have conversations. They don't go to blogs anymore. They certainly don't go to Aftermath. You know that. Look, I guarantee you, look at that. So plenty of normal people still manage to tune in for long hour rants and conspiracy theories. We like to call them normal men, my friend. But at what point does this rancid flavor of brain rot go from a vocal niche to a borderline mainstream position? And what are the long-term consequences of that? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because guess what? It's not vocal niche. This is a mainstream idea, judging solely off of the response to your tweet. Go down here and look at you so bad that you had to shut off the replies to your tweet. Now, before we actually get into the responses to this tweet, by the way, the most traction this brand has ever gotten on X, I'd just like to point out Nathan Grayson, the writer, former Kotaku writer, now nothing writer. He's writing a book, and this is what he is for Halloween. So take that for what it is when someone speaks of brain rot. Just throwing it out there. With that said, take a look at some of the responses here to this tweet. This tweet here, the Dragon Age review controversy shows how much YouTube and Twitter have poisoned video game discourse. Poisoned? What is such a strong word? Poisoned video game discourse. Do you really think that video game discourse has ever been, I don't know, not poisonous? Because have you ever been in a Call of Duty lobby? Have you ever played games with your friends? You ever been on a couch and played Mario Party or Mario Kart? Or ever had a friend that had any sort of meaning in your life that you could talk really to? Well, guess what? Everybody in the comment section on this tweet certainly has. You clearly have not. Christina Tasty says, if you believe it was poisoned, you have to believe it's been poisoned on both sides. What is this common sense? It isn't poisoned because of you on a personal level. Disagree. Legitimate grievances don't go away because someone on the internet you don't like also has a negative opinion of said game. Oh man, there it is. That's right. Because la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it if it's something that I don't agree with. Oh my gosh. And then we have this from Stryler over. He says, no, the writing was horrible overall, many inconsistencies. And there's There's no funny or witty banter or interaction in the game. The ending, having played an Inquisitor that romances Solus, is horrible. Fans like me waited 10 years for this, and it's just bad. Couldn't care less about the characters. They're all like directly from Tumblr, except maybe even Devin. I regret buying the game. 80 hours out the window. Yikes! Or 80 euros. Let's say hours. 80 euros out the window. Yikes. That's crazy. Christopher says, yeah, why can't we just consume the product and we get excited for the next product? That's right. Hey, don't ask questions. Just consume. Just slop it all up there. That's right. Once again, you're not consumers. You are customers. It's their job to take the money from you and your job to give it to them. If you don't like what they're offering up, then you don't have to give it to them. It's just that simple. Why do us pesky players have to criticize access journalism? See, there it is right there. Access journalism. That's what they don't want you to realize, because these people are shilling for this, because guess what? They're the ones who get the codes. They're the ones who get invited to this stuff. Guess who doesn't? These YouTubers who are keeping it real. And that's the problem. It was much better when nobody could publicly criticize anything except through access journalists. Oh, we miss those days of monopoly. Yep, absolutely. And this person says, you're implying now that your opinion is absolute, godlike, and shouldn't be challenged. That's the part where we fundamentally disagree. Man, oh man, is the common sense just shrieking through right here. So they are getting absolutely ratioed. And it continues. Legacy Killer HD says, true hypocrites. Hogwarts Legacy showed that, and many other examples. It's why gaming sites are now dying and are not taken seriously at all. You shunned very tame, non-progressive voices years ago and deal with the consequences now. You reap what you sow. Correct. Absolutely. Listen, I've worked with all these sites at one time. Kotaku, Destructoid. I've worked with them all at some point. Destructoid even exists anymore. Polygon. At some point, I've worked with these people before, and they're all the same. They're copy and paste NPCs. You think that this is the only guy who wore a poster for Halloween? No, okay. We continue on. It says, gaming discourse is toxic because access journalism is disingenuous, and disingenuous reviewers have made it so. They want to make big corpos and their buddies in the gaming industry happy, and don't care about the gamers who have to spend money on slop. Preach, Estacado. Preach, preach, preach. But we continue because, once again, just proving how out of touch these folks are. Says this reads like a radio host complaining about how television is more popular. And he's right. There are bad apples on both sides. Don't try to paint traditional media sites as the arbiters of morality. This is so accurate and so true. You're just as willing to argue in bad faith as many people you're criticizing. He's 100% right. And that's the thing. I would love to have these people on our show to talk about this, because I truly don't think they really understand what the issues are. Like, they just see this as, oh, the brain rot. Blah, 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 blah. Are you serious? Let's actually have a conversation about that. As a matter of fact, I should probably invite him on the show and see what he says. He won't come, because that's just how these people work. They want to stay in their echo chamber. Here it is. Are we, the gaming journalists, out of touch? No, it's the YouTubers that were wrong. That's right. Going back to Principal Seymour Skinner here in the greatest way possible. And I just tweeted about this a few minutes ago. It says, or, you can just hear me out. You're out of touch with what gamers actually want and have no marketable skill except for being the mouthpiece for an industry, which is 100% the truth. And here's the most amazing thing about this. In this post that they have directly below it, they know they're getting ratioed and all this. They actually put this down here. If you enjoyed this article, please consider subscribing to Aftermath. I wonder how that's gone. Hey, do me a favor. Don't do that. Don't go to Aftermath and don't give them their money. Don't do that. You know where I want you to go? Sidescrollerspodcast.com and support us. Support us over here. Go up here in the upper corner. You can't see it, but it says log in and become a member in the upper right corner of the screen. You get access to all of our shows, some special content that we're doing. Doing a lot more stuff coming in 2025. Become a supporter over there. Screw these guys, man. I can't deal with this nonsense anymore. You guys want real, authentic voices. You're not going to find it at sites like Aftermath. You're going to find it here on YouTube. You're going to find it on X. You're going to find people who actually have a pulse to what's happening in the industry. These people have a pulse to what's happening within the people who are complaining inside the industry. But I'll tell you what, I know for a fact there's a lot of people inside the industry that want to say what we're going to say, and that's why they watch our shows, because we know what's going on and we have a pulse of the normal man. With that said, hit the subscribe button and join our channel. We'd really appreciate it. We're closing in on 110,000 normal men. Love for you guys to tune in. Appreciate you guys popping in. See you guys later.